Okay, you've accepted the offer and now it is time to give your notice to your current employer. Now, make sure that when you decide that you are going to give notice that you have an offer in hand. You may not have signed it at this point. It's even better if you have. However, if you think there might be a negotiation process with your previous employer, then just having the notice or the offer in hand might be good enough for you. Again, you are in charge of you. You know you best. You decide. Now, remember when you walk in and you give notice, give them as much notice as possible is what I believe. So even if your notice is a 2-week notice period, if you are comfortable with giving 4 weeks because you found out 4 weeks ahead of time that that's the offer that you received, then I would give 4 weeks. Give them as much time as possible. Show them that you care, you know that you are leaving, and you want to make the transition as smooth as possible. Okay, so you have received an offer and you're ready to give notice at your current employer. That's really exciting. Make sure that it's not just a verbal offer. Before you go in and give notice to your current employer, make sure that you have a written offer in hand. You might at this point want to have signed the offer. However, if you believe that your current employer might counteroffer and it's something that you are interested in, then you can decide for yourself whether you want to give notice having a signed offer in hand, or it's just enough for you to have a offer in hand. Now, when you go in, first of all, remember you did nothing wrong. You are just making the best decision for you at this time in your life. Make sure that you are really respectful, that you thank them for the opportunity, that you give some positive feedback about what the job has meant to you during the time that you were there, and thank them for the opportunity. It is good to give them as much notice as possible. So even though you may have a 4-week notice period or a 2-week notice period, if you know ahead of time you're going to be taking another role, the more time you can give your current employer, the better. It shows that you care. It shows that you are giving them ample time to transition, that you are willing to help with the hiring process for your replacement and to set up processes and training for the replacement for you at your current role. However, it's a judgment call. If you do not feel comfortable doing that, that you just want to get out of there, that you don't want anyone to know, then you tell them when you feel is right, making sure you're giving them the appropriate amount of notice period that is in your contract. Now, I fully believe that you should give yourself at least 1 week between employment. If you are leaving your current job, please, 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 if at all possible, we all get so excited about new roles, but if at all possible, give yourself at least 1 week between roles. You will thank me later. If you can afford that time, then please do so. If you are unemployed at the time and you just want to start, of course, just start. But if you can give yourself, you have the leeway to give yourself at least a week off between roles. Please, please, please do so. I cannot drive this home enough. Give yourself time to reset, appreciate what you've done, get excited about what you're going into. 2 weeks is even better, but at least give yourself a week. Okay, so you've given your notice, they've accepted your notice, and now you have to work your notice. It's really easy to start to check out, but remember, you don't want to burn any bridges. You do not know if you will run into any of these people in the future. You do not know if they will be in charge of hiring you at a future company. You don't want to burn bridges. So really make sure that you have a good work ethic and that you are closing off the role as best you can. Now, when it comes to admins and assistants, and if you're an official, I fully believe that you would never do that you are a hardworking person, and that you are definitely going to work your notice period, no matter how you were treated at your role. But make sure that you are leaving behind documentation that will help the next person. You've spent all this time setting up processes and making the place better. Make sure that wasn't all done in vain, and that the next assistant help a brother or sister out. Make sure that whoever is coming in, they are one of your peers, they are someone else in our industry. Make sure that they have the best footing they can when starting their role. Now, as part of this, there is a certain point where you really should think, I am not taking on any new business. I'm not taking on any new tasks. Yes, I know that My notice period is 4 weeks. After 2 weeks, I am not taking on any new business. If they've decided, if they've been able to hire someone, then that is a time where you should be in between training and someone else should be handling that. But there is a point, if you want to say, to be able to hand off this role correctly and close all these things off, I cannot take on any new business, or by the time it is time for me to walk out this door, you are going to be left with a lot of questions, and I may not be able to answer them because I will actually be working full-time at a new position. I always like to leave the door open and say, please call me if you really need something, but I will reserve myself a bit if I was not able to say at a certain point, you really cannot give me any new business, because if you want me to, and they weren't taking the hiring process seriously for my replacement, then I will kind of be a bit more reserved there. But yeah, try and make sure that you can have a certain time period where you are properly shutting down your responsibility in the role and preparing it for the next person coming in. So another big question that comes up a lot is, when should you change your LinkedIn status? Now, I highly recommend not changing your LinkedIn status until you've started the new role. Now, say you've ended a role, maybe you were laid off, made redundant, and you are now searching for a new role. There are settings that you can set in LinkedIn that show that you are accepting new offers. You can change your headline to say that you are looking for the next opportunity, but my belief is that you shouldn't change your most recent employment. You shouldn't put an end date on that until you've secured a new role. Now, there is a time limit on that you will have to make a judgment call on. Hopefully you will find employment within 3 months, but it is kind of common practice to leave that hanging open. But if you have been laid off, if you have left a job for any particular reason other than to go traveling, which then you should put that as your headline, or to take a particular time off, it's always better to just kind of leave it open-ended, and then when you get a new job, you adjust the dates and make sure they're properly in there.